Welcome back to the GCN Racing News Show. This week, is Colombia about to dominate pro cycling? A quick glance at the Tour Colombia suggests it might well be. Plus, we've got the Tour Provence, the Tour of Oman, Trofeo Laigueglia, the Vuelta a Murcia, John Degenkolb's crowdfunding campaign, and the obligatory Astana Rap Montage. First up though, is cycling about to be ruled by Colombians? I mean, that's a genuine question that I started asking myself while watching last week's Tour Colombia. Firstly, when have you ever seen crowds like this at a bike race in February, or at any other time of the year for that matter? The passion, the enthusiasm, the sheer volume of fans at the Tour Colombia was impossible to ignore. For the most part, it was fantastic, although there's always somebody to spoil the party, isn't there? In this instance, it was a fan on the final stage who fell into Quintana, Bernal and Sosa, quite possibly affecting the outcome of the final overall. But, wow. The crowds last week really were something else. In fact, Froome even told the Tour de Yorkshire they had some work to do. Now, before I continue on this subject, I should give due credit to those who performed during the race. A team time trial kicked things off on the opening day, and it marked the first win in that discipline for EF Education First since stage 1 of the Czech Cycling Tour back in 2016. Now, you wonder whether that win was in part down to equipment, and by that I'm talking about the fact that the stage was done on road bikes, and Cannondale's System 6 is certainly one of the fastest road bikes out there, but we have heard rumours that some of the riders are not quite so happy with their time trial bikes in that team. Regardless, that win put Rigoberto Urán into the race lead, which in turn threw up a couple of almost unbelievable stats about the Colombian. Firstly, from Paris-Roubaix, that was only the third time in Urán's career that he's actually been leading a stage race, and then secondly, this from Andy McGrath, that Urán has never won a professional stage race. Now, for a rider that's finished twice second at the Giro and once second at the Tour de France, that's pretty incredible. Anyway, Jose Alvaro Hodge was the first Colombian to win a stage this year. He got the sprint win on stage 2, whilst compatriot Juan Sebastian Molano of UAE Team Emirates won the following day. Bob Jungels and Julian Alaphilippe of De Koning Quickstep won stages 4 and 5, both going into the leader's jersey after their respective stage wins. But there was nothing that they could do against the might of the home riders on the final stage, which was so enthralling and so exciting, I literally had goosebumps. Nairo Quintana nabbed the stage win there, his 37th pro win, and in fact a new record for a Colombian pro rider. But as impressive as that was the fact that Colombian riders filled 14 of the top 15 on that mountaintop finish, and in the end 13 of the top 15 places overall in the GC. I mean, it was the Tour Colombia, so you'd expect local riders to be motivated and do well, but that is next level dominance. And the overall top 5 of Miguel Angel Superman Lopez, Sosa, Martinez, Bernal and Quintana, as a group of riders, you could envisage them one day filling out the top 5 of a Grand Tour. However, it's not just the incredible performance of the Colombian climbers that makes me think that this nation may well soon dominate our sport, or the aforementioned volume and enthusiasm of the fans, but also the rumours that Team Sky could soon become a Colombian World Tour team. Now, Sir Dave Brailsford has remained tight-lipped, as you might expect, regarding his negotiations to find a replacement for Team Sky in terms of its sponsor, but reports said that he met up with the Colombian president Ivan Duque, and that speculation has led to more speculation as to whether Team Sky will soon become that Colombian World Tour team. Which would make complete sense when you think about it, because Colombia has the talent, not just in the climbers, but also in sprinters like Gaviria and Hodge. It very evidently has the fan base, and it also now has a race to showcase all of that talent to an international audience. I mean, you could make a good argument for the creation of a 4th Grand Tour in Colombia. Anyway, food for thought, and we would love to hear what your thoughts are. Is Colombia on the verge of being the dominant powerhouse of pro cycling, or am I talking complete codswallop? Let us know in the comment section just down below. Meanwhile, over in the Middle East, Alexander Kristoff of UAE Team Emirates won his first race since last June. He crossed the line first on the opening stage of the Tour of Oman. There, Nasser Bouhanni came third and hit 80 kilometres per hour, unbelievably. And it would have been a second victory for Kristoff on stage 2 had defending champion Alexander Lutsenko of Astana not managed to follow the sprinters through a well-timed attack on the final climb. Kristoff, though, has now competed in all 10 editions of this race and has 9 stage wins to his name. Impressive stuff. You can catch daily highlights of the race over on our Facebook page. A race which we had live, in fact, over on our Facebook page at the weekend was the Italian season opener, the Trofeo Laigueglia. There we saw a superb first pro victory for Simone Velasco of Neri Sottoli. The 23-year-old Italian attacked with 38 k's to go and against all odds managed to solo to victory. If you didn't catch it live, you can still catch up with all the action and watch his heroic efforts over on Facebook. Now down to Spain, and there was a 1-2-3 for Astana on the opening day of the Vuelta Murcia. Pello Bilbao taking the win there. Third of the trio on that stage was Luis Leon Sanchez, and it would be he that went on to win the second and final stage, upsetting another local favourite and current world champion Alejandro Valverde. The pair finished 13 seconds clear of the bunch, which was led home by European champion Matteo Trentin of Mitchelton Scott. Sanchez and Valverde went on to finish 1 and 2 in the overall, with Bilbao in third. That, though, means that Valverde has yet to win a race in the rainbow jersey. And this, in fact, will be the furthest that he's gone through a season without a win since 2009, when it took him until the end of March to pick up a win at the Vuelta Castilla-Leon. Spare a thought though for Simon Geschke. In his first race day of the year and first outing for CCC, he crashed in the closing kilometre of stage 1 and broke his elbow. Heal up quickly, Simon. Now, we've got the classic down Murcia, and there we had a German sprinting duel, with German champion Pascal Ackermann of Bora Hansgrohe ultimately pipping Marcel Kittel to the post. A tough day for all though, so tough in fact that only 46 riders made it to the finish line in that race. In France, we had the Tour Provence, which saw even more success for Degenkolb, Quickstep and Astana. Filippo Ganna took the first leader's jersey for Team Sky, though, with a comfortable win in the opening time trial. Philippe Gilbert got his first win in his 17th season as a pro on stage 3, whilst the following day, John Degenkolb took the bunch sprint. In the end though, it was Gorka Izagirre of Team Astana who went home with the overall victory, winning by just hundredths of a second from Simon Clark, and proving that fighting for every second in every race is absolutely worthwhile. So that was quite the week for Astana, who managed to nab 5 wins in the space of 2 days with 4 different riders. And if that isn't worthy of an Astana rap, I don't know what is.
No somos solo un equipo, sino una gran familia.
Now, along with winning races, John Degenkolb has also been busy saving them. Upon reading the news that this year's junior Paris-Roubaix race wouldn't go ahead due to a budget shortfall, Degenkolb quickly acted and launched a crowdfunding campaign. The aim to raise €10,000, which is needed to save the race, but as we record this, it's already closing in on €15,000. A proportion of that money will go to Les Amis de Paris-Roubaix, a group of volunteers who take care of the maintenance of the pavé sectors throughout the year. Maybe, if enough is raised, they might even consider bringing back the junior women's Paris-Roubaix. We can only hope. Regardless, hats off to Degenkolb for taking the initiative and using his influence in such a positive way. If you'd like to contribute, we have left a link for you in the description, which you'll find just below this video. And now, on to one of the longest races of the year, Melbourne to Warrnambool. This year marked the 103rd edition of the race, with a new route shortening the distance slightly to 262 kilometres. 13 riders raced clear of the bunch to fight it out for victory in the men's race, with the win going to Nicholas White, who won the National Series in Australia last year. The race, though, is quite unique in that men and women race together. So Peter Mullins won the women's category in just under 6.5 hours. In other news, Annemiek van Vleuten has stated that her return to racing will be at the Omloop Het Nieuwsblad at the start of March. Her intention there is to play a supporting role to her teammates and get some racing kilometres in her legs and gauge her fitness to see how long it will be until she's back in shape to be competitive in the finales of big races. That's good news though, and a much quicker return than most people were expecting after sustaining that fractured knee at the World Championships last year. Now, talking of the World Championships, Aigle Martini are jointly hosting the 2020 Championships, and they've released a few details of the course. It includes a 3.9 kilometre climb at 9% average on the finishing circuit, so next year looks once again to be one for the climbers. Some sad news to emerge last week was that there are to be no more Red Hook crits, at least not this year. Organisers announced that they are using 2019 as a hiatus, with the aim being to come back in 2020, and let's hope they achieve that, because that really was some exciting and dynamic racing. We'll finish this week with Cyclocross, where it was business as usual at the front of the races. Mathieu van der Poel took back-to-back race victories in the Super Prestige in Middelkerke and the Brico Cross in Hulst, meaning that he's now won 32 of the 34 races that he's entered this season. Frankly, phenomenal statistic and a 94% success rate. He was pushed hard yesterday, though, by under-23 world champion Tom Pidcock, giving us some hope that we could have a proper battle on our hands in years to come. In the women's, it was a similar story, as Denise Betsema of Marlock's Bingo took back-to-back victories in the same races, bringing her win tally up to 13 for the season. Right, that's about all for this week. Don't forget to get involved in the discussion about Colombian cycling in the comments section down below. Now, if you haven't seen my races from last week, you've got 2 choices. You can see me race up the Col de la Madone against Steve Jones here, or down against Nico Voulois just here. Going down was a lot more fun.